get started here in just a couple seconds. Before we start though, I do want to ask any current Hall of Fame members, any from the first 3 class, if you would please stand up right now if you've been inducted in the Hall of Fame among the first 3 classes here at Chapin High School. Definitely appreciate all of you coming here. I know we've had folks that have traveled from all over the country to be here tonight. And with that being said, I want to get things started. I'm going to turn it over to Justin Cannon.
Okay, we're going to start the team recognition portion of our ceremony tonight. And we're going to talk about the first team to be recognized is the 1987 football team. We saw their highlights during the dinner portion. And this was a team that went 10-0 and would win a playoff game at home against Woodruff before a loss the next week on the road at Pageland. But this was an incredible team, especially the defense, which I think allowed 64 points during the regular season. That's very amazing and a tribute to Coach Sullivan, the defensive whiz. So at this time, I'd like to bring the head coach, Coach Muldrow, to come up and speak about this great team.
Thank you, Justin. I saw Coach Sullivan's on the program twice, so they told me to cut mine in half. Those who've been here before know what I'm talking about. I brought this plaque today. In my house, I don't have many things around sports, but we put up a plaque for every team that made the playoffs, and this was certainly a special team. I had to look at some of you when you came in tonight. So some of you were wide receivers, defensive backs, and I think you're all offensive linemen now. But that's okay. It happens when you get older. Congratulations to this great team. People ask me sometimes, what was your best team? I said the ones I'm talking to right now. We had an 0-10 team, and they were pretty good too. But they had 39 on this team, and they were a band of brothers. They worked hard together to make things happen in a positive way. They were undefeated region champions, undefeated regular season champions, and their only defeat came in a close play at Central Pageland, a very tough place to win anyway. I want to offer a special thanks to all the coaches. Assistant coaches sometimes don't get much credit, but they're the ones who do the work. Sometimes the head coach is the only person that gets his name in the paper, but those assistants do the work Sunday through Saturday, and should be given a lot of the credit for the success of this team. Also, we had trainers who did a great job of keeping us healthy that year. And all those others who award us in various assistant positions throughout the year. Teammates, remember this tonight. These guys were your teammates. They were the ones that created this wonderful memory for you in 1987. Congratulations.
Thank you, Coach. And we have a ball we're going to pass around for the 87 team to sign. I'll go ahead and start that.
And afterwards, we would love it if all of y'all can get together and get some pictures together there as well for the 1987 football team. At this time, I want to talk about our next team that we're here to honor tonight. It's the 1995 girls soccer team. And this wasn't a team that won championships. This wasn't a team that, went undefeated in the regular season like the football team. But this team is special for many reasons. In sports, it's not always about wins and losses. Sometimes the losses pile up more than the wins. The reason for honoring the 95 team tonight is because they were the first. They laid the foundation for what is today the very best girls soccer team in the state of South Carolina, having won a state championship in 2016 and were runner-up this past year in 2017. If not for these young ladies, and they are still young because they're about my age, if not for these ladies, then the state championships would not have come for the girls soccer team that we see right now. So at this time, I do want to bring up the head coach of this team, Coach Mary Jo Jenny.
So Mr. Sonny just made me feel young because he just said, I thought you played on this team. So that's an added bonus. I remember the interview whenever I went in to be hired here. Mr. Anderson, who is here tonight, looked at me and said, we're getting ready to start a girls soccer team. Do you want to coach soccer? Coach Muldrow's sitting there and they're like, yeah, we need this. And I was like, I have no clue what I'm doing, no clue. You know, but I've learned through 24 years that if you don't know what you're doing, you surround yourself with people that do. And so this is Christy Hopkins on the very far end. She was a teacher here that helped me out, and Bill Barton also helped me out. But man, Matt kind of stole my speech because we didn't win a lot of games. I think we won maybe 2. And one was a forfeit. But hey, we don't count that either. Every team made the playoffs, so we can proudly say that we made the playoffs that first year. And I think we ended up losing about, I think it was either 3-2 or 4-2 to a very good Camden team. So if you look at how far we progressed through the season, it was really good. So I'd like to ask if you are a member of that team, if you would please stand and be recognized. Thank y'all. Thank you for coming. And just, you know, and I can say this because I see the work that our school, that our girls put into it now. Coach Bob Taylor has this group going in the right direction, and it's an amazing program. So be proud and know that you guys started this, and it's a tradition that has continued through 24 years. Thank you.
Sharpie somewhere, you can get it from the boys. Okay. So that's the ball for you ladies to sign too. That'll go in the Hall of Fame room down at the field house. We're not going to leave anybody out. Okay. Now it's something I'm very, very proud to be a part of. When we got together, the committee got together, and we started the Hall of Fame, and we decided on our first class. We decided to include Miss Jimmy Ruth. And you say, well, she wasn't a player, she wasn't a coach, but if there's a book of Chapin athletics, Miss Ruth is the spine of that book. And I think anybody that's come through here will tell you that. And so, since she was in, without being a teacher or an athlete, we decided that in light of that, we would name an award for her, and we would recognize people that have just offered distinguished service to Chapin athletics over the years. And so tonight we're going to present our very first Jimmy Ruth Service Award. I'm going to let Coach Muldrow come up and make the introduction.
Tonight, this is a special award for a very special lady. Miss Ruth, Coach J.B. Addy, Coach John Chekovich, Coach Cecil Woolbright, and myself, we all want to say thank you for all you did for all of us. We may have had the title of, quote, athletic director, but we all know in this room who ran the show. The award tonight recognized 2 people who were greatly involved with the Chapin sports program in our community. From recreation coaching, umpiring, officiating, to helping any way they could at Chapin High School when we called upon them. Helping Coach Jenny, the JV with volleyball, helping with scoreboards, clocks, whatever we needed done, they never said no. Let's give a big thank you tonight for the many years of service of tonight's award winners, Miss Linda and Mr. Glenn Amon. Please come forward.
You want to say anything? Do you want to say anything? Sure. Okay.
Everyone that knows Glenn Amick knows he talks all the time. He never shuts up. So I figured that I might be able to talk because we might not get time when he starts. But the real truth is he never gets his mouth. His mouth stays closed because mine stays open all the time. But over the years, it's amazing to look back. Glenn's this is 38th year of running the clock for football, and Coach Jenny allowed me to be on a state championship volleyball team, first state championship I had ever won in my life. Played sports all our lives, but in our house we have a theory: if you don't kick it, bounce it, or throw it, we don't know what to do with it. So thank you very much for this award.
All right, next we're going to start introducing our 7 new inductees into the 2017 Chapin Athletic Hall of Fame. To induct our first inductee tonight, I want to bring up a legendary figure here at Chapin High School, who I'm sure will have some great stories for us. I want to bring up Coach W.F. Sullivan to present the induction to Jackie Bowers. You need a mic?
I don't think so.
I didn't think so.
Can y'all hear me okay? Good. Now, y'all do realize that the church service starts tomorrow about 10 o'clock? I'll give you an hour. Talking about Miss Ruth just for a second. Y'all know, I know John Rogers last year, Kathy asked him, is he ever going to say anything about you? But Miss Ruth, she served 1956 to 2006. That's 38 years as a teacher, 12 as a secretary, and then when she quit in 2006, the last 11 years, she has done and helped us out with everything. Do y'all realize that 61 years that she has dedicated to Chapin High School? That woman is incredible, and I appreciate her. And I just want to let y'all know about that. I'm serious. Let's give her another hand. I want to tell you real quick, I am real proud to be associated with Chapin High School for 48 years before I retired. And what people don't realize, from 1966 to 2000, we had 2 principals, Mr. Evans Proctor, Mr. John Anderson. Where's Mr. Anderson at? Okay, right there. And I guarantee you, we were fortunate. Hey, how many high schools could say that? And then, athletic director, 1968 to 2006, Coach Cecil Woolbright and Coach Eddie Muldrow. That is an honor there too. That's a lot of years we're just having 2 coaches. And I want to tell y'all, I was honored to serve under both of them. Both of them is just great integrity. They never use curse words out there. They taught the men stuff besides football. And let me tell you something, that means a lot to a lot of people. Now some people, as long as they win and they cuss every other word, okay. I don't believe in that junk. I don't think we have to have that for young people. But anyway, I really appreciate them. Now I wanted to say just a little bit before I get to Jackie because I tell you, Jackie means a lot to me. Jack LeGrand. I'll try to go alphabetically except for the two that I'm introducing. Jack LeGrand, cross country and track. He was here in the 70s. And I want to tell y'all, he has done the job. He kept everybody in shape for the other sports. And it's very important. But he took them places that you just got to love the kids in order to help them out with their cross country and their track and everything else. He is a tremendous person. And Jack knows, where's Jack at? Oh, right here. Jack knows that the first time he came into the old cafeteria over here, we were sitting there and Mr. W.C. Hawkins came and sat down by me, and Jack was across over there. And I said, oh, here it goes, because Mr. Hawkins was a fair man, but he was tough as nails now. And he looked over there at Jack and he says, are you attached to that mustache and beard? You know what Jack said? You know how tough Jack is. Jack says, it'll be off tomorrow. I want to tell you one other thing about Jack. Jack and Eddie and I went and we were going to run a race up there at the YMCA. And y'all know they were in a lot better shape than I was, so after a while I needed some water, so I stopped. Well, they went on, and let me just tell you, they got lost. And I tried to find them and know they were lost, and so I called, Cherry Ann and them called me, and they just couldn't find them or anything. So I finally got my car, and I went out to Fort Jackson, and I found them out there asking the soldiers directions how to get back to Chapin. You know, they were lost, and I picked them up and took them to the house. And when I got to Eddie's house, Cherry Ann was waiting there with a vacuum cleaner. Eddie was back in that house at 3:30, and she was sitting at the door with it. And then when I got to Jack's, Karen was waiting there with a vacuum cleaner, and I said, my God, I said, I'm sure glad Vera's like she is. Hey, y'all know I reversed that story. Okay, but let me tell you, Jack does a great service, and they'll say more about him, I guarantee you. And Big Percy, where's old Percy at? There's old Percy. Hey, 265 pounds, and he ran a 4.35 40. You know what? I always went out there in the scrimmages, I said, kill him. And the official would say, you can't say that. And so the next play I would say, take the heads off. But I'll tell you all this, Percy had a big A on his chest. Animal. He was an animal. I put him in the middle, and I said, Percy, go get him. He could go either side. Tremendous athlete. We appreciate everything Percy did. And those old fake punts, where's Marty at? Marty was coaching at Gilbert. Gilbert was over here, and we ran a fake punt. We snapped it back to Percy. Percy was running down there. Marty's guys went over there and formed a wall for the guy to come back. Percy was running down their wall. You know, and they didn't realize it, and then he cut back against the grain, and they had, Marty had two defensive backs, probably about 155 pounds, and Percy met them at about the 11-yard line. I think he ended up at the 7, and those two pole guys were probably out of the game because he was full blast. But I mean, Percy just did a super job for us. Percy, we appreciate it. And I know they'll say more about it. Now, Gene Teal. Now, y'all know Gene Teal, and you know what people don't realize? He was a great athlete at Newberry College with Neil Gordon playing basketball. And y'all probably didn't even realize here at Chapin, he would pitch one game on the baseball team left-handed, and then come back and pitch the next game right-handed. I mean, he was a super athlete, and I'll tell you one thing, he's one of my best friends, and you're talking about married to a beautiful wife, Sherry, and you know what? The good Lord was working wonders that day. He made twins. So there's two good-looking women. But Gene, I tell you, Gene knows I love him to death, and he is just a super. He's a super coach, and he knows his business, and thank God when he was in Mid-Carolina, I realized he was going to beat us over there sometime, so we got him to come over to Chapin, and we needed him. But Gene, we appreciate everything you've done for us, and I know Mr. Shelby, the sheriff is. He'll say something nice. Now, the next one I want to say something about is Judy Wessinger Swigert. Now, we know that Swigert is a good name, but Wessinger, my God, we know the Wessingers are good athletes, and you know the people from out of state that don't know anything about Chapin. Oh, Wessinger, they can't even pronounce it. It's Wessinger. But Judy, I don't think Judy will mind this. She graduated in 1957. And when she graduated then, I graduated a little later, not from Chapin now, but somewhere else. But when I got to Chapin, that's all I heard. Judy Wessinger Swigert, Judy Wessinger Swigert. I mean, she scored all those points. That was when there was three girls, and all that. And I would say Judy and the two Bostain girls and the girl that I'm going to be happy to introduce, Jackie Bowers, they're all in the top 4 as far as scoring. She did a great job. They'll say a lot about her. Now, the next one is old Rex Woolbright. Now, you know what I like about the Woolbrights now? There was Marty, you know. I mean, Marty was big, strong. He played for Carolina, the New York Giants, and all that. And Marty was just a good athlete. He was running up and down the field at Chapin the first day I came over here. And Coach Woolbright named some other name. I said, who is that athlete there? My God. I said, we're going to win some games this year. I didn't know he was going to Carolina as a freshman, you know. And when I saw him. But Marty was 20-2 in 68 and 69 as a quarterback. And then Roger came on the spot. And 1970, 71, 72, and 73, he quarterbacked. And Roger had 41-5. He was 41-5. He was 10-1, 10-1, 9-2, and 12-1. You know, during those 4 years. And Marty was 10-1, 10-1. Well, when Rex came along, you know what they said about Rex? Oh, poor old Rex. He won't be able to do it now because the other two guys has just been the greatest thing in the world. And the first 25 games of Rex quarterback, he won. He was 25-0. He coached the only team probably at Chapin is 14-0 undefeated. And then he was 11-0. And I want to tell y'all something. The team we lost to, Fort Mill, I wish y'all could see that that team on film. They were fantastic. And we couldn't make a single mistake. We made too many that night. And they beat us in the playoffs. But the Woolbrights, 86-8 in 8 years. I mean, we'll never have a dynasty like that again, probably. And I want to tell y'all, Coach Cecil Woolbright, great motivator. He was 44, I was 25 when I came over here. He was like a father to me. I lost my father when I was real young. He was like a father to me. Eddie Muldrow, he was just like a brother to me. And I want to tell y'all, I have been blessed just to be a part of the program manned by those two people. They are super. And anyway, the Woolbright. Now I want to tell you this, Marty was 91%. Y'all know me, I'm a math teacher. He was 91% winning. Roger had to play 4 years though. He was 89. And old Rex was 96%. Yeah. Okay. So let me tell you, you know all of them are great athletes. They were. All right. And, you know, talking about Gene, too, you know, he had two brothers that were exercising, Bart and Leland. And I'll just tell you one other thing, too. I lost my mother when I was young, too. And over at the Generations, Miss Teal, I love Mr. Teal, too. But, you know, he passed away a good number of years ago. When Miss Teal came over there to Generations, and I want to tell y'all, my father-in-law was over there for the last 2 years. I went inside her room and sat down, and it felt like it was my mother again. And we had some of the best talks for about an hour, and that was the greatest thing in the world. I love Miss Teal to death, and I'm just telling you, I love the Teals. Okay, now we got to get in with Miss Jackie Bowers. Are y'all telling me to sit down? No. Okay. Now, let me just tell y'all this. Oh, Jackie, y'all know the Bowers. Y'all probably don't even know this. There was 16 people in my family. I had 6 brothers and 7 sisters. So I know all about big families just like the Bowers. And let me tell you, you learn a lot when you have a big family. You learn how to get along with people. You're not in a room by yourself at college, and oh God, the noise. Let me tell you, when you got 16 people, you're gonna have noise all the time, you know. But the Bowers, they got a special number. They call it 21. And that's all the Bowers, 21. Anytime you got, just like the Woolbrights, number 11. When you got a special number like that, you are special. And I appreciate the Bowers. I just appreciate the Woolbrights and the Sheelys. I appreciate the Sheelys. God have mercy, the first 5 people I met when I came over with Sheelys. My last name started with an S. I started to go change it. Because all the Sheelys were there. But anyway, let me just tell you this. Jackie's, I know that she has 3 sisters. I don't know them because they didn't go to Chapin. But she's got 7 older brothers, and all of them play ball here at Chapin. And then Jackie came along. And I know from my younger sisters, just like Jackie was a young sister, those boys are going to beat her to a pulp and make a great ball player out of her, because every time she goes out there to play basketball, they knocking her around and all that. And then she gets to play against something called girls. And let me tell you, that's a big advantage. That's a big advantage. But I want to tell you, old John C., now, Mr. John and, you know, their parents were the finest people you'd ever want to meet. But old John C., he's passed away now. And y'all know I coach Mike Bowers. And Mike was just like me. I loved motorcycles when I was his age. I loved them. But y'all know how dangerous they are, and somebody pulled out in front of him, and it wasn't a good situation. But let me tell you something. He probably had the best pursuit angle of anybody I've ever coached about going to the opposite side and nailing people. And he was the only person, when he would look at me and I would do my nose like that, kind of like the sting, I was telling Mike, you do what you want to do. All I ask is you tell the linebacker which way you going. And he was like that, and you'd be surprised how many punts he blocked, how many crucial 2-point conversions he caught. Mike was just tremendous, and his son and grandsons are here tonight, and I want to tell you, Mike was a fine person, and I loved him to death. And that's not to take anything away from the rest of the Bowers. I didn't know John C. Now, Larry played with Marty, and I knew watching on film Larry was kind of like Chris, the way he would run and stuff like that. And then there was Ralph. Old Ralph was a good one. And then there was Jerry and old Ruby. Is Ruby here tonight? Okay, Ruby's not here tonight. Well, let me tell you, old Ruby was tough as nails. If I ever want to go fishing or hunting back in the old days, I'd like to have somebody like Ruby there. You know? But Ruby was just a good, we had a good time, a lot of discussions up here at the cafeteria. But the Bowers are good. Now let's say a little bit about Jackie. Now I want to say the one bad thing about Jackie. Jackie ran one track meet. And she said, this is not for me, I'm out of here. She did that. But let's look at a few things. She was a 4-year starter in basketball. She got 5 letters in basketball, and she got 5 letters in the tennis. And all conference her freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year in basketball. And they got a lot of other stuff in. I'll read it because I know the Columbia area team's junior and senior year, she made it. And she was the player of the week in 1981 and 82 for a couple of times. And then she was the Columbia area player of the year in 1982. And that was outstanding. Because let me tell you, Jackie tell you, there was some good players out here over some of those other teams in Columbia. And she won it out over there. She was also recognized, and this is very important because she's smart. And let me tell you, that's a great addition besides being a good athlete, is that would keep you all the way through life. And you can look at Jackie right now. She graduated in 82 and she looks like she graduated last year. She plays competitive tennis. Last weekend, y'all not gonna believe it, she beat both of the Williams sisters, Venus and Serena. It was 6-4. It was 6-4, 6-3, and then Serena gave her a little more trouble, 6-4, 7-5. Now, y'all know I'm joking, but let me just tell you, I'll tell you the reason she hadn't beat the Williams sisters. They scared of her. They won't play. All right. Now, she was recognized in 1981-82 edition of Outstanding High School Athletes in America. And that's a tremendous honor. I've seen that book. And I mean, you don't have many of them from different states, you know. And now, one thing she did, she could steal the ball in basketball. I coached her. She had 127 steals. She averaged 4.9 per game. Now, one game, was that against Mid Carolina? That was that game that, yeah. She had 11 steals. And let me tell you, I had to bail her out of jail. They arrested her for all those stupid steals. But I want to tell you all this. Against Mid Carolina, that game, she scored 34. 22 was on layups that she got off of those stupid steals. And I mean, she did it up in that game, and we needed it too. She had 1,311 total points, and our senior year, we were 21-5. Her senior year, with 21-5, and she and Patty Moore would just pass it to her. Now, the thing I like about Jackie, too, we had all this play, and I could name any number in the world. It was the same play, but all the other teams thought we had 1,000 plays. But I would say 35, and if I would say dead, Jackie would take that little stutter step, turn around, Patty would pop her, and she laid in the goal. And she probably got 58 points just like that. See, some of the, early in the game, she'd run all the way back. So she just do like this and turn around, and that girl be running back down. And she got all kind of points off of that, 35, 150 dead. Anytime we said dead, you know, she was ready. You know. Now, tennis-wise, she played 5 years, led it 5 years, and she was the #1 C single player her junior and senior year. And softball, they started a softball team her junior year. I wish they'd have started it earlier. And she played for 2 years and made all conference both years. And one thing y'all didn't understand, Mr. Wicker always had bus drivers, and bus drivers could be seniors in high school. The one person he told me he trusted more than anybody was Jackie Bowers. She drove the bus, and guess what? She drove the bus to the softball matches when they had softball matches. I'm talking about Jackie did that, and she would have been all conference for 4 years if she had had a softball team a lot earlier. And let's see. She went on a scholarship, very important, to college, USC Aiken, and she graduated in 1987, 4-year basketball scholarship. And you know how they are in college, they don't like for you to play 2 sports. I know Jackie, when she was a senior, she just says, I'm going to do it. So she played softball her senior year at USC Aiken. That's a beautiful campus. All right, and let me just tell you, though, if we ever needed a clutch 2 points, she could make it. Y'all know sometimes they didn't have the 3-point play in the old days, but she could make it anywhere on the floor, and I appreciated Jackie a lot. And she always had that little grin on her face, and she's so smart. And she's a beautiful girl. And that's a great combination. And I tell you, I just love her to death. I love all the Bowers because Bowers represent something just like some of these other names represent a lot too. Now, what I'm going to do, and I know it's enough probably on Jackie. Jackie, I know you want to come up and say a few words. So if you want to come up, you got exactly 10 seconds.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Coach Sullivan, you made me feel like I'm a celebrity. Thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank all of my family that came out to support me tonight. Friends, co-workers, my pastor sitting over there, and my tennis family from Greenview in Columbia. That's Greenview Park. Thank you all so much. You know, some of the best days of my life was here at Chapin. And I tell you, we've already mentioned her name, but for those of you that don't know her, I want Miss Ruth to stand up because I want everyone to see how she inspired all of us, especially me. Miss Ruth, stand up with me. Miss Ruth was like a mother to me. I started school here in the 7th grade. From 7th grade through the 12th grade, she was there by my side. And I was shocked when, right before graduation, she gave me 2 large photo albums. They were like 3 inches thick, both of them. And in those albums, she had pictures and newspaper clippings of every sport that I played, from 7th grade through the 12th grade. She had my name underlined in every article. It's the little things like that that means a lot. And also, there's one person I wish was still here today. He was a true man's man. He was like a father to me. Every time he would see me in the hall, he would give me a big hug. And that's Coach Teal Woolbright. He was a true inspiration. He approached me when I was 13, out by the tennis court. He said, "Jackie, I want you to get on that girls' tennis team." And I looked out at the tennis court because they were out there playing, and I was like, "But Coach, I don't know how to play tennis." He said, "Well, you're an athlete. I know you can play it. I'm going to buy you a racket and get you some balls and get some of the guys on the tennis team to show you how to play tennis." And those of you that know Coach Woolbright, whatever he tell you to do, you do it. I said, "Okay, Coach, I'll do it." So now it's been 40 years I've been playing tennis. And if he was here today, I would give him a big hug because I'm glad he inspired me to start that sport. And also, too, I want my 2 sisters to raise their hands. I want y'all to know that my 2 sisters left me home with 7 brothers. I got a bone to pick with them. But I thank God for my brothers because first, they didn't want to have nothing to do with me. They would tell me, "You just go on in the house and we're not going to let you play." But my mama changed all of that. My mama said, "Let her play." And I thank God for them. They did let me play. Because I knew at a young age they were not going to play with doll babies. And they were not going to have tea parties. So I had to join them. So I thank the Chapin Hall of Fame committee for all you do and all you've been doing. And thank you for this recognition.
All right, for our next induction, that we now have 4 members in the Chapin Athletic Hall of Fame from this family. I want to bring up Roger Woolbright to talk about the next inductee into the Chapin Athletic Hall of Fame.
Coach Sullivan, I appreciate you helping me out with this. About half of it, so I'll get right down to it now. I want to thank my brother for wanting me to come up here and talk to him. I was afraid I wasn't going to I wasn't gonna come from Arkansas to be here tonight, so he went on and said, "Right, why don't you just go in there and speak for me, whenever he introduced me." I said, "Okay, I'll be there." Hey, I was gonna say a little bit about, that group, that 74, 75, and 76, Pete and Rex and all of them were involved with. I've thought about, what made those 3 years and the team that they had those 3 years, what made them special? So it was like 30 wins and no losses in that little spell there. So I went back and looked and thought about using some of Coach Sullivan's philosophy classes he gave us when we were coming up. But, all of them were close friends. They did everything together. They played rec ball together, went to school together. They hung out together. They did the good, bad, and ugly stuff. But they were all together as a team. In those 3 years, those guys that were just average, we had catalysts in those 3 years. And those catalysts were the guys that have gone into the Hall of Fame. And there's going to be others. I don't want to leave anybody out, but I saw Jerry. He played. He was in there. He's one of the catalysts. Isaiah Hip, Mike Slice, and of course Rex and Pete going in tonight. Those guys were the catalysts for those 3 years that really made them so successful. They knew how to make everybody come up to another level, and be as good as they were. Right now, Rex wanted me to say a few good things about him. I've been working a long time to try to come up with a few. I'll just say that Rex went into the Shrine Bowl, played in the North-South All-Star game. He was in Columbia area, back of the week, for the week of the 4A title game. All-conference linebacker in 1975, 72 stops. Team leader in passing in 1974 with 820 yards. Team leader in passing in 1975 with 500 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 10 two-pointers, and that was all past 3, I would imagine. And then defensive plays in 1975 included 445 stops and 3 fumble recoveries. So Rick, yes, you were 14-0, and yes, me and your brother never were 14-0. Come on up.
All right, boy, it's almost nice to get this microphone. They told me, my brothers told me, 5 minutes, Rex, 5 minutes. I said, I can handle that 5 minutes. He said, did you write a speech? I said, speech, I got it all up here. I got Miss Ruth right there. Miss Ruth helped me out all the time. I took her class, that's the best class I ever taken. Me and Pete, side by side, ever since we were in the 5th grade. Now, Pete is just a little country boy. Because when I came up here, they called me the little city boy. And I don't really know too much about it. The only thing I did when my dad was the football coach and Marty was playing quarterback and Roger was probably playing JV, well, I was the manager. I ran that ball out there as fast as I could. And then my dad said, go on and get it. Don't leave it out there. Bring it on back. I said, but I want to go get something to eat. I'm thirsty. He said, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. Said, I am the coach, Rex. Don't be so hard-headed. Now, that hard-head, I learned that at an early age, but I heard it all my life. We lived down there on Pineywood Road, and right up the hill was the old football field. Everybody knows where the old football field is. That was the nicest football field. Had nice grass on it. Because I fell on there and I got tackled on there so many times. My brother, Marty, did a really good job. He didn't win no state championship in football, but Marty was the first state championship, his team, with the Teals and Wessingers and Fricks and Cumberlanders, and you could go on and on. They won the first basketball championship in baseball. Well, I heard that a long time coming up. So, Roger, did you hear that? Football and baseball. Did you hear anything on, no, football, No, basketball and baseball. I didn't hear anything about football. I said, hey, there's a chance. There's a chance. So, I graduated from going to get that ball. And so when we moved here in the 5th grade, I said, all right. And then I looked at all my classmates, and they looked at me and they said, oh no, his hair is short. Boy, look how nice and neat it is. Hey, he's wearing blue jeans. You know, he could probably play at recess. And that's what I did. I played recess with all my classmates and Pete Bunner, Mike Slice, Bert Slice, and all the rest of them. We had the best time down there. That's how we really learned how to play football. We were supposed to play touch, but you know that never happens. We were on the ground most of the time. And the teacher would say, come on in. It's time. We got help. Help. We're trying to win a game here. We got a few more minutes. So sure enough, Miss Elliott, she let us play. And that's what we did. So me and Pete, we moved on up. Yeah, Pete was fast and he was strong. But I told him, I think I'm going to be playing either receiver or running back. Because my big brother Marty and my middle brother Roger would say, Rex, here's the ball, run. I run and they tackle hard. So that's what I did. And then when Marty went off to college, I said, all right, Roger, you got his bed and I can take your bed. Now we can move up a little bit. So sure enough, that's what we did. And Roger, he said, Rex, you go out for passes and you throw them back to me. I think that's where I got my arm. I was throwing that ball back so much, it got a little bit stronger. He said, Rex, you know, I think you'd make a good receiver. Well, I'll tell my dad that. And Dad would say, Rex, I'm the coach. You might not be able to play anywhere, but you do handle the ball real good and you fall down. Let me pick up that piece of grass right there. That one little blade put you on the ground. And I know a lot of you players, y'all heard that. That little piece of grass. What happened to you? You should have scored a touchdown. Sure enough, we moved on up to JV. Had a great team. I did play quarterback and learned a lot from all the coaches. Did really good. I think we lost a couple of them probably. I don't know about that now. But what we did, we beat Mid-Carolina. That's all we wanted. That's what we lived for, beat Mid-Carolina. What Mid-Carolina would do, a lot of y'all don't know it, they'd run a skunk up our flagpole, come all the way down here. Then they put that skunk in the bus motor. Can you believe that? I kid you not. I kid you not. Yeah, we liked them. Yeah, we liked them a lot. We beat them for 10 years. When I graduated, they said, is there any more Woolbrights? I said, hallelujah, no, I'm going. It's all over with. But I do want to say, the best thing my daddy said, Rex, just have fun. And I know you're going to have fun because all your classmates, all your teammates are out of here. And that's what I try to do. I try to have as much fun as I could. And Miss Ruth really did help out a lot. And a lot of the other teachers. And Coach Sullivan, we had him. And you should have seen our class. We probably had one girl in there. She's probably a cheerleader. And here we are, all the football players in there. Coach Sullivan, algebra. Coach Sullivan be working on that problem, and it would take him an hour. I said, Coach Sullivan, you're doing a great job, but we just can't get it. If you erase that and write it again, I think we're missing something. Because one of my classmates was erasing some of it, so we never could get it. He said, Rex, it's going to take you a long time to really get that algebra. I said, you know, Coach Sullivan, if I had maybe had a couple more hours, I think I could get it. But that's all right. Football and the sports and the cafeteria, That's what I love. Cheerleaders too, though. They were great. We had the best cheerleaders too. They were real proud of them. Well, I want to tell you a little bit about the committee right here. It's a fantastic job that y'all do. Outstanding. Looks good. And the facilities around here is nothing but number one. That's what Chapin is all about. So I really do appreciate everybody. Oh yeah, this is what my brother said. He said, now Rex, there's a couple things you gotta do. You gotta say thank you to the committee. That was one. We were all in a room for the first time in a while. My mama was sitting in a chair. And I also have my mama here, my Uncle Henry and Aunt Mella, and my sister-in-laws, and all of my good friends, and my son over here, Blake Woolbright. If you would stand, he gets most of his looks from his mama and everything, but he gets his height from me. So, but I really appreciate all my family come, and I think I've got a couple of our football players with us. Jerry Bowers, if you would stand, Bert Slice, Joe Laster, Pete Bundrick. Pete, go ahead and tell me. Anybody else? I just want to say I enjoyed playing with y'all. And Bert, I know at Fort Mills, me and you were all the way back, but we just wasn't far enough when that guy threw a Hail Mary and then he caught it. I don't know where the good Lord was thinking at, but he should have knocked it down. I mean, really. But let me see. I think I've got all my coaches and teachers. I really do thank them, and all my family. I think that's it. Is 5 minutes up? I think it is. Look at my brother. He said 5 minutes is up. Listen here. I appreciate everything, and I am a Chapin Eagle for life. Thank you very much.
It's great to have all the Woolbrights here. All the brothers are here. It's great. Okay, now I have the privilege of introducing a person I grew up just down the road from. The Mayors lived on Westwood Drive, just about half a mile down from the Cannons. So Sylvester, if you want to come up and talk about Percy, I would be glad to hand you the microphone.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to talk a little bit about my brother. You know, on the way down from Virginia, I was thinking about exactly what I would say, you know, and thought about it hard. But I will tell you guys just starting out. Me and my brother, we was always in the shadows of my father. I think he ran like a 4.2, 4.1 40, based off the street word. But so, we already had a couple of S's against us coming in. Percy, a lot of you guys may not know this, but he was actually a good baseball player too. You know, precision tune. We used to love to go watch him play. I mean, Percy knocked one out of the park almost every game. You know, one thing the coach had to do is tell him, hey, Percy, if you knock a home run, we'll give you an extra snack. So guaranteed, Percy got a home run every game. But, you know, when we was coming up, we did a lot of backyard football, you know. We didn't have the social media and all the gaming systems they have now, so our entertainment was always going out and played a lot. And Percy was I call him my little big brother. He was always bigger than me, even though he was my little brother. So he played with a lot of us, older cousins, and he always was the one that everybody wanted on the team because Percy was big, but he could run. He was tough. And man, we used to be tough on him, you know, really tough. But he never gave up. You know, he always stood in there. So I'll tell you a little story. This is funny. Little League football. We used to get kicked down every game. We was 0-10. Every game. We used to go down and play the Irmo teams. They used to beat us up so bad. Percy was always blocking for me. So, you know, he'll be blocking or running, and he would always say, now, I'm going to go to the right, you go to the left. Percy went to the right, knocked his man, blocked his man, but I always got tackled. And he would always look back and say, you're supposed to go to the left. I said, I did. Nobody else blocked. So, and he was, now this is a little brother, but he was giving me a hard time. So always on the way back home after losing every game, Percy was always the comic relief. Now if you guys know Percy, you got to know he's a comedian. And you know, we would be upset about it, but by the time we got home, we was in tears because Percy would make everything funny about the game. He would critique everybody, tell them what they did wrong, what they could have done better. And you know, it was always he was always entertaining. But I would tell you, this guy, I don't know if they really had the opportunity to reflect this about him, but he was a total athlete. Did track as a ninth grader. He was made the all-conference in track. He was the all-conference championship. He won a conference championship in the discus. Percy probably could have easily been on a relay team. Big guy, but he could run. Coach Shealy wouldn't let him be on a relay team. We asked a couple of times, but Coach Shealy wouldn't do it. But he was just that good of an athlete. Sophomore year, 1987 team, we're looking at that. I tell you, he made that year special for me, playing with your brother. He was just a sophomore, but he was everywhere. He was, you know, the heart of that defense. As a sophomore, Percy won the Player of the Week, back-to-back. Percy was second team all-conference. Percy made the all-area team. He, as a junior, he was second team all-conference. And I have to tell you, when looking at that, I don't know how in the world he was second team all-conference. I mean, I'm still baffled with how he got second team all-conference. This guy's to dominate. Seriously. If you know I'm not lying. Second team all-conference, really? But second team all-conference, numerous Player of the Week awards, all area. Also, Percy was, as a linebacker, I would tell you, and this is what I do know, probably one of the most highly decorated for his recruitment athletes I've known. I mean, this guy used to get letters at home from UCLA, USC, Notre Dame, Florida State, you name it. I mean, I was there to see this. Everybody wanted a piece of this guy. Made me jealous. I didn't get letters like that from him. I got some recruitment letters, but nothing like that. Percy would get letters from everybody. And, you know, but he was very humble about it. Senior year, made the all-state team, all area player of the year. He was also part of the, then also second team all-conference again. I don't understand that. But anyway, with all that being said, my brother, you know, he's my little brother, but I looked up to him because of his abilities and, you know, what he learned from, you know, being around family, cousins. He always stood up to the challenge, always. And, you know, we used to pick on him a lot of times when he was younger. We always had nicknames. I don't think nobody ever called him Sylvester, you know, so he used to call him Vesey. And I was calling him Popo, because I had a problem calling him Percy when I was younger, so Popo was the name I called him. But that was our little thing. But he was also part of the North-South All-Star game, was nominated for that. I don't want to leave nothing out, Percy. I don't want to leave nothing out. He had a total of 9 interceptions. 3 of those 9 interceptions was returned for touchdowns. Making sure here now. Yeah. So to me, for as a linebacker, I think this guy by far probably one of the best linebackers ever known to be able to play with him, to come from Chapin High School. And I told him that. I said, man, you by far have to be one of the top linebackers, if not the best linebacker to come from Chapin. Before it's my book. I know Big Brother saying this, but I really believe that, man. I mean, I've seen Percy hit people. Let me tell you, that Central Paisley game we lost, that kid, Mitchell Nicholson, they ran an option play, and he decided to keep the football. And I'm tell you, I saw Percy hit this guy, and I felt the pain. I mean, he laid into this guy. I mean, this guy was a sophomore playing with us, man, and he was a man then, could run a 4.50 I think Coach Sutherland said a 4.3. Hey, Coach, you wasn't that far off. This guy was 200, about 30 pounds, running 4.5 I guess that's why all those recruitment levels came through. I mean, it was real. It was real. So, without holding up him any further, I would like to bring my brother up here, and it's been a privilege and an honor to be able to represent him. Thank you.
Thank you, big brother. Give a hand for Sylvester, man. Big brother. I don't want to leave nothing out. I said, I'm in here now, it don't make no difference. I'm a Hall of Famer now. You leave something out, you came in a blank screen, I'm a Hall of Famer. But, I'm going to start by saying thank God, for all of us being here tonight. Today is a good day to be alive. Don't you guys agree? Yes. Okay, if you don't agree, we can talk about it after this thing's over. I want to thank the committee, Mr. Justin Cannon, Matt Barber, all the people behind the scenes that you might not see. Something this nice. It took more than 2 people to put it together. So it had to be others that's involved. I'd like to thank you guys also. Okay, I'd like to thank my mom and dad, right here, Constance O'Neill. Inspiration, helped tighten up my skin, all the spankings I got. I probably got more whoopings in a week than more people got in 3 years. So I thank y'all for it. Y'all been big fans of ours, and we love you. But everything that started with me was with confidence. I'm trying to get myself together. But everything started with confidence. I remember that team he was talking about, the Elliott brothers sponsored us. We were 0-10. Man, we were terrible. I don't think we scored a touchdown, did we? Matter of fact, me, you, and Larry was on that same team, right? I don't even think we scored a single touchdown the whole year. And right then, my confidence level, I don't know if I even should have played another game. But I kept on going, and I remember my brother went to 8th grade, played on the B team. I was in the 6th grade. And the teammates came out, I don't know who it was, but they gave him a nickname. And it was, I think, Black Cat or Black Alley Cat or something like that, right? Because he was so fast and quick. And man, I was mad because I wanted to be like him. He was my hero. I wanted to be that black cat so bad. I didn't know much about cats. I just knew the definition. He was so quick and fast. I wanted to be that. I was like, man, I would have settled for a Black Alley King. Lord, I just, let me be something like my brother. And I remember just trying to, I was kind of chubby at the time. I was a little fat. And I never forget when I finally got to high school, 8th grade, Coach Woolbright would come down the hallway, he would punch everybody in the stomach. And I heard everybody say, "Oh, Coach Woolbright, that Coach Woolbright." I was like, so? I was in 8th grade, I ain't know no better. I was like, so, man, who is he? He started punching everybody, boom, boom, boom. He got to me there, boom, I said, ain't that right? And you can't let him know it, that you was hurt. I was like, so Ben, I was kind of fat. When he went down and came back, my stomach was still shaking. So he punched me again. So I said, man, I got to lose weight and get my stomach tight. I Coach Woolbright gonna keep punching it up. So between him and my dad now, talking about child abuse. No. They were putting it on me, So I remember my 9th grade year, I had got in a little better shape. And me and Jeremy, we was on the varsity. And then they moved me back down to the JV. Man, I went to the JV. I said, no, I couldn't even play. And after I played varsity and practiced with them, I went back down. It just felt so different, So the first game, we played Dreer High School. And we used to beat Dreer 28, 30 points, easy, So got to the 4th quarter, probably about 2 minutes left. And they said, Percy, get in the game. Now I'm in 9th grade, so I stood there like that wasn't my name. I was kind of nervous and scared to get in the game. Oh, okay. So I'm thinking, well, we're gonna go in here, we're gonna run the clock out, they're gonna do a couple kneel downs, you know, let's see how I block. I get in the huddle, we kneel down, quarterback say, 41 trap, 41 trap. I said, huh? Somebody said, you heard what the man said. So I was so nervous and scared, I said, what am I supposed to do? I just went brain freeze. I was so scared, so I remember, I said, okay. So I'm thinking, boy, let's go ahead and make this not happen, you know. So I get in the backfield. I remember coming through, I seen the lineman cross like that. I was so scared. I came through, I saw the linebacker. I went by him so fast, it was like a blur, man. You know, I seen the safety coming from an angle, and he probably ran a 4.3 or 4.4. I probably ran a 4.6 or 4.7. That safety wouldn't catch me that Friday. It wouldn't happen. Because it was fear versus speed, and fear won that night. Fear won that Friday night. I said, you ain't catch me this Friday, maybe next Friday or the Friday after next, but it won't be this Friday. You know? So my confidence level started to grow a little bit. I said, okay, 'cause I was 6 feet, 213, so I had the size, but mentally, age-wise, I'm like, man, I'm playing with guys in 10th, 11th, 12th grade, so confidence started to grow a little bit. So then I got the track. That's, you know, when the spring came, and I won the shot put, the discus. So I said, okay, I'm doing okay. So my confidence level coming on up a little bit. So then, sophomore year came, all of us on the same football team. Matter of fact, that 10-0 team, can y'all please stand up? You guys inspired me and made me better. 10-0 team, 1987. I saw y'all in there, stand up, please. You guys made me better. You know, because of what you guys did made me better. I really worked hard on to play with you guys. And I remember, we had a practice, we had put pads on. Coach said, first team offense against first team defense. If the offense score, the defense ran wind sprints and ran their heel, or vice versa. I said, okay, fine. So got down to the 1 yard line, 4th down. What they did, they pitched the ball to my brother Sylvester. I seen him smile and come around the corner, he thought he was in the end zone. Boom! I knocked him out. Knocked him out, right? Dropped him right there. Like that. Start running. You know, my confidence level was growing, man. So I said, oh man, because I knew at that point, if I can stop the best running back in the state, Gene Favor, and all these other guys out here, wasn't gonna stand a chance. If I could stop him, that was it. So I was like, yeah, let's go. You know, then I had a good defense with Jeremy, James Temple, all these guys. You know, Nick Bachellis, all of them. You know who you are. So we all was a group. We all worked hard. We wanted to be the best. So when the first 2 games of the season came, you know, had 2 good games. All area committee decided, well, I played well enough to be player of the week, back to back. First week I won. Everybody was happy. I said, oh man, you know, went down and ate real good, buffet, you know, roast and everything. It was good eating. So they said the next week, I thought, oh man, this is getting good. So I thought this performance like going out of style. Oh, man, I'm gonna turn it into every week dinner. You know? So we'll turn around after I'm player of the week 2 weeks back to back. On Sundays, we went and looked at film, and the coach gave us a grade. I'm getting my grade, I'm going, no, why I keep on getting C's and D's on grade? Man, I'm a player of the week. What game these coaches looking at? We ain't looking at this. I'm a player of the week. All the people on the all area committee thought I was player of the week, and y'all would give me a C- and a D, you know? But they were trying, they were giving it to me because of what was going on. They were trying to coach me to do it right and to play right, because it was oftentimes they said, you got the running back. Wherever he go, you go. I said, okay, cool. They said, they made it real simple. If you go to the bathroom, you open the door. I said, all right. You know, yeah, so me and the running back were like hanging out with friends. You know, I put the band wherever he went. So it'll start that way, but then we had such a good defense with Jeremy Cannon over here, Jameson Temple, Trevor Boker, John Burris, and all those guys, Corey Tuart, Mike DeBose. They were reaping havoc in the backfield so much before the quarterback can get started. I'll lead the running back and come up to help out on the play. Well, there went my C and D, because I would have been out there with the running back. What you doing back here? Right? But it looked good. The guy was on the ground. They lost yards. We got the fumble or the interception. But they were trying to, the point they were trying to make was, okay, What if that quarterback broke containment? 50 yards down the field, touchdown, where you at? That's your C&D, because I would be with him. That was my assignment. I wasn't playing assignment football, you know. And they were trying to teach me to do it right, you know. And it goes a little farther than just football. You're doing it right, you live right, treat people good, you do it the right way. And I learned from the experience that they taught me to do it right. And I appreciate, you know, the whole coaching staff, all of them, for just believing in me, giving me an opportunity as a freshman to get started, get my confidence up. And I'm gonna challenge you guys, live right, do it right, treat people good, help others. If you're not helping others and loving others and treating people good, I don't know what you're doing with your selfish life. Okay, so I want to tell all the athletes that's here right now, no matter what sport you're playing, eat healthy, listen to your coaches, listen to your parents, get proper rest, and all your dreams will come true right here, right now at Chapin High School. And I thank you guys a lot. Y'all have a good night. God bless you. Thank you again.
All right, my friend. Thank you.
Before we go any further, I did want to acknowledge our videographer and photographer, Mayor Emeritus Stan Shealy and Dan Svoboda are helping us out tonight. So the teams, if y'all hang around after the ceremony, I think we're getting through it pretty quick this year. So if y'all hang around and we'll have some pictures made and we'll get that out via social media or whatever. All right. Now I'd like to call up Mr. Joe Shepley to talk about a fellow I think we all know, and I guess I might tell some stories too if we get to it, but we're going to talk about Mean Gene Teal.
Don't wonder what it's like to be in the back row and wonder if you're going to be able to read your notes because it's so dark up here. But that's what I've been doing for the last hour and a half. When I first got asked to induct Gene Teal into the Chapin Hall of Fame, I wondered, first of all, why me? Everybody in this room probably already knows who he is. Everybody in this room was either coached by him, coached with him, or in some way has crossed paths with him. But then I started thinking, as I look around this room, I might be the only person in this room that actually was taught in the classroom by Gene Teal, coached on the football field by Gene Teal, and now coach alongside Gene Teal. So I probably do have a unique perspective on what it's like to work with Gene Teal. The thing that comes to mind for me that I would like to focus on is the demeanor, the way he carries himself, the way he carried himself at practice, the way he carried himself in the classroom, and the way he carries himself right now is something that really stands out to me. When I think about the classroom, I think back to Coach Teal putting his leg up on the desk one day, sitting up on the edge of it in 1982 when the Soviets were embroiled in Afghanistan, and saying, you know, why don't we just go in there with them, split the country in half. They need a warm port, and we need the oil. And if Ronald Reagan had just had Gene Teal as a Secretary of State, think of the lives that would have been saved. Think of the money that would have been saved. There'd have been no war in Afghanistan. All we needed was Gene Teal as Secretary of State. The other thing that I would think about is a microcosm of how he carries himself on the field happened this morning. I coached the middle school 8th graders with Coach Teal, and we got to Irmo this morning about 8 o'clock for a 9 o'clock scrimmage, and we realized that the bag of footballs we had brought was the varsity bag. And if you're a 14-year-old and you try and grab a varsity football, it really doesn't fit in your hand very well. It's quite a mismatch. So about 15 minutes after we finally found a ball over on the Irmo side that they let us use, there was another ball sitting there on the side, and a couple of guys were throwing it around, and Coach Teal walked up and said, "That's the wrong size, get that off the field. That ball doesn't belong on this field." And I kind of caught his eye at the same time, and I was thinking, I kind of think you probably said that to me at one point in time. "That's the wrong size for this field, get that off this field." And he looked at me and he said, "I might have," he said, "but if I didn't, I probably should have." The other thing that I think about was the fact that Coach Teal has never been one of those people that Coach Sullivan mentioned this morning, or not this morning, it does seem like a while ago, but earlier. He's not a screamer. He's not an in-your-face kind of guy. He's very low-key. He's a guy who wants to teach you, and he's also the guy that understands that for the vast majority of us, football, or whatever sport he's coaching, is not going to be the biggest thing in your life. On the other hand, he's going to be the guy who says, "It's 100 degrees out here. If you guys are miserable, we might as well win." So that's his philosophy. The second thing that I think about is the way he carries himself when the rest of us are around. We had another situation today on the field, and that was that for the 4th or 5th time in the game, we had a big play, and the referee threw a penalty. And there are 6 of us coaches out there, 3 offense and 3 defense, but it's a scrimmage, so we're all on the field. And when that flag went out, 5 of us went ballistic and were yelling different things at the ref. "That wasn't this, that wasn't that, that didn't happen, blah, 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 blah." Coach Teal didn't say a word, was behind all of us, walked up to the coach, or to the referee like he's done before, and said, "Sir, what was the call?" And the referee looked at us and said, "It was a face mask on the other team." Coach Teal looked back at the rest of us, didn't say a word, but it was that, "You idiots." Every parent in that stadium right now is wondering why there are 5 guys out here out of control and 1 guy who's in control. So I learn from him every day, and I appreciate that privilege to coach with you. Thank you. Gene Teal graduated from Chapin High School in 1964, where he played football, basketball, and baseball. In 1965, Gene was a member of the first recruiting class for Frank McGuire at USC, and he also played baseball. He subsequently transferred to Newberry College and played baseball, and as Coach Sullivan mentioned earlier, pitched both left-handed and right-handed, and Coach Sullivan said, 1 inning left-handed, 1 inning right-handed, but can you imagine if you're the batter and first 2 pitches he pitches left-handed, and the next pitches he pitches right-handed? That would be really tough to prepare for, and that's pretty good talent. Most of us look really weird just trying to throw with the other hand, much less trying to pitch. In 1970, Gene landed his first coaching and teaching job at Mid-Carolina High School. He became head football coach in 1974 and basketball coach, and coached there till 1978. While he was there, he coached the school's first basketball team ever to win a conference championship and the first ever to play for a state championship. He also coached the school's first football team ever to win a conference championship, and that team was the first ever to compete for an upper state championship. He came to Chapin as a varsity football coach in 1978, and he also coached the JV basketball and golf. In football, he coached the quarterbacks and receivers. A few of them are here tonight. Ben Anderson, Jeffrey Tucker, Dwayne Wise. He also coached the kickers, B. Teal and Jeremy Mosley, who went and played in college. It appears that about 90% of the people that are actually in the Chapin Hall of Fame right now were actually coached by Gene Teal. And as I say that, and I look around at some of the other coaches here, I don't know if it's just because they coached with Coach Muldrow, but when I was in high school, all of you guys look so old, but since I left, it's like you guys haven't aged a day. None of you. I mean, Coach Rogers last year, Coach Sullivan, you haven't changed a bit. I don't know what it is. Coach LeGrand, still got the mustache? Still going? Gene coached conference championship football teams in 1983, 85, 87, 89, 90, 92, and 93. He was also the golf coach and was Region 4 AA Golf Coach of the Year 1990, 91, 91, and 92. He retired in 2000. After retirement from Chapin, he taught and coached again at Mid-Carolina Middle School, and was inducted in the Mid-Carolina Hall of Fame in 2005. He returned to coaching at Chapin and has been coaching now the Chapin Middle School football team for 9 years. That's a history of 45 years of coaching. That's a lot of lives touched. And I'm privileged to coach with you. I'm privileged to know you and your family. And on behalf of the Chapin Hall of Fame, class of 2017, I'd like to welcome you to the podium, Gene Teal.
Some notes here, but I can't read them. I certainly want to thank the committee and everything that they do. Thank you, Joe, for all those kind words. And Joe, stand up. I am. I'm just kidding. I have enjoyed working with him the last 3 years, and it's been a privilege. So, thank you. WF, you're the best teacher coach I've ever known. I guarantee. So I want to recognize some of my family. Bart, where's Bart at? Raise your hand, Bart. This is my much older brother, Bart. He should be standing here right now instead of me because he's coached state championships. He scored 47 points in a high school basketball game. Had the record for years. And that was without three-point conversions. So, and I also want to tell you that he is the second best basketball coach in our family. I owed him that one. My son back there, Jason, in the back by Joe, he was an outstanding high school player and an outstanding college player. WF got him in college and teaching him math. And his lovely wife, April, would you stand up? You can see that Jason out-punted his coverage with her. And I want the two loves of my life to stand up, Sherry and Sailor Vale. Hey, Sailor. Yeah, Papa loves you.
Yes, Papa.
Sherry and I have been married for 43 years. She claims that she was 10 when we got married. Anyway, she raised our family when I was out coaching, and I appreciate everything you've done. I really do. Okay? And as I look out...
Bringing our next inductee, another legendary coach here at Chapin High School, and also a man that helped teach me psychology. George Hines and Chapin Hall of Famer John Rogers.
Good evening, everybody. It makes me feel really good to see a lot of Bowers and a lot of Mayers and a lot of Teals and a lot of Woolbrights. That's some great names in Chapin athletics. I'm here with Coach George Hines tonight. This might be a first because it's probably going to take both of us to introduce Coach Jack LeGrand tonight. Jack has made his mark at Chapin High School, Chapin athletics, very deserving of this induction. In 1977, Jack and I met for the first time. I just graduated from the Citadel, and the weekend before Coach Woolbright helped me move in up here, I went to a bluegrass festival at Boone Hall Plantation down in Charleston. Had a great time, good music and everything, and we just had a blast. And the next week I moved up here. Coach helped me move and everything, and we had 5 new teachers coming into Chapin that year. Jack, if you remember, it was you and me, Shirley Border for resource, Scotty Ellerby for science, and I think Maria Farkas for Spanish. And it was 5 of us. Now, Mr. Hawkins, the superintendent, would get all the teachers that were coming in new the day before school started. We'd already had about 4 in-service days, and he'd make us line up down there at the district office or some school, wherever we were. Mr. Hawkins was an ex-Marine. Each teacher had a buddy and my buddy was Eddie Perry. Now, Eddie Perry, Gene was National Guard, wasn't he? Yeah. So we're standing there in line, and Eddie's telling me, stand at attention, don't say anything. If he asks you a question, just go ahead and answer it, shake his hand, but do whatever. So Jack was standing next to me. So Mr. Hawkins comes by and he says, we're looking for good things from you on the court, in the classroom. I said, yes, sir. He goes to Jack next. I said, this ought to be really good. Now Jack has hair down to his shoulders, and he's got a full-length beard that's almost touching his chest. And Mr. Hawkins looks at him, and Jack says, I'm Jack LeGrand from Winsboro, South Carolina, graduate from Clemson. I'm teaching reading. And as WF said, Mr. Hawkins looked at him and said, how attached are you to that hair and that beard? And Jack said, we disagree on this sometimes, but he said, I think he said, not enough where it's going to affect my job. So Mr. Hawkins turns to Mr. Proctor and says, Sonny, he will be clean shaven and have a haircut by tomorrow. So Jack came the next day, had the nice Fu Manchu going, okay? And then after a couple of years, just the mustache. That gave him the moniker that he's kept all these years as the man behind the mustache.
For that opportunity. Jack and I have always worked together in a close and a very positive manner. It is surprising since we are polar opposites. He refers to me as a ready, fire, and aim guy. I always have considered him to be a discerning and deliberate type. We differ on many issues and have had some interesting discussions on religion, politics, football, and many, many other issues. Occasionally, we might have a heated discussion, but he would always allow me to speak my mind, and we always wound up with it, shaking hands at the end of the discussion. Now, there were a few times it almost got to Mayweather and McGregor, but McGregor would have taken him. We spent so much time together and went through so many things together that he took the liberty to refer to me as his cross-country wife. Now, Karen, those were his words and not my words. And that could have led to some of those heated discussions that we had. His success went far beyond numerous state championships, awards, and honors. His successes that meant the most to him were relationships. Relationships with student athletes, coaches, administration, athletic directors, parent, staff, and community. I have never met anyone as skilled as Jack with his ability to look at a situation and resolve it, be it a disagreement or an argument. I guess some of it was because of his background in psychology and his ability to use that as practical applications. Second, and most importantly, his empathy for everybody, for every single person. He never met a stranger. It was clear to me, though, that it was always real and genuine and from his heart. I can attest to witness situations where he got into arguments, or he didn't arguments. People came to him angry. Athletes came to him angry. Coaches came to him angry. I did sometimes. And parents came to him angry. He was always able to work those situations out. They shook hands, they smiled, and they laughed. I've never seen a person with that ability, that much ability. Jack has always been there for student athletes in time of need. He always figured a way to get help for someone, be it emotional stress, loss of friend or family, or just plain need. He was empathetic and truly felt their pain. He was comfort for them in their darkest of times. He was not just their coach. And amazingly, this is a fact, he has never cut one athlete from a cross-country or track team. How many coaches can ever say that? He treated the fastest and the slowest with the same amount of respect. Now, I got to tell you, there were a few times we laughed, and there were some jokes and carrying on. He never took himself seriously. He never did. I laugh when I think about the relationship between him and Coach Tom Painter. Tom was the head boys track coach. Jack was coaching the girls at the time. Tom athletics. I thank you so much for what you've done for me. Jack LeGrand, Hall of Fame coach, mentor, and great friend.
Dr. Hawkins. I'm not even going to go there, but none of it's close to the truth. Thank you, both speakers. I appreciate all the kind words. It's really great having my family here. Couldn't get them all here because some had to travel way too far, but that's great. It's unique, too, that all the DHs are here. Brother James SQ, JR, and Big Cat, John Anderson. The DHAs, I can't go into it, what it is, but the Sean Spicer of the DHAs, the public relation guys, JR. So if you want to know anything about it, check with the Secretary of Public Speaking for the DAs over there later. When I first started teaching, they emphasized the 3 R's. Y'all remember the 3 R's? Reading, writing, and arithmetic. But I've always thought that was a short-changed way of looking at a coach teaching position. I think it's relationships. And it's kind of neat that George mentioned that. I said, oh, he's going to start talking what I was going to talk about. But over time, relationships are the most important thing for, as a coach or as an educator to me. I want to talk a little bit about that, but I'm not going to do a lot of specifics because I'm not out to reset the filibuster record of last year by our honored colleague, Mr. Bart Teal. So I'm not going there. I'll keep it within a realm. When we look at relationships, first of all, relationships with the athletes and students, that's great. I look around now and there's a lot of student athletes that I've been involved with on one level or another, and those relationships go on. These are people that positively impact. Parents of athletes, I've done cross country for 37 years. I've had 4 assistant coaches. 3 of them were parents of former runners. So that's been a wonderful impact on me as well. Next would be the athletic family here at Chapin High School, because even though we may not be in the same sport or we may not cross paths in coaching, we did cross paths here at the school. It was neat. The faculties, the administrations.
I want to tell y'all, Pete Bunny, I'm telling you one thing. Oh, y'all realize I've already talked about the other people. But I want to tell y'all that Pete Bundy, he played defensive tackle, and he played fullback, and I love when Pete would go out there on the field, he would do his mouth like that. And when he would go out there on defense, I would say, 3 and out, baby, for the offense. Because I knew he was mean as a snake, and he was going to go out there and create havoc. I tell you, I never met, in some ways, a guy with pound for pound like Pete. He was just a tremendous person, and so I want to just tell you a little bit about him, and I'll sit down. His sophomore year, this was Rogers and this was last year, they were 12-1, and Roger was talking about those 30 games in a row. We lost to Barnwell, and then we won 5 games, 2 for the regular season, 3 playoffs, and with Rogers' group, they won 12-1, the state championship. Then Rex won 25 in a row. Then we lost to Fort Mill. That was the 30 games. And we won in a row. But Pete had to deal with all of that. Now, even in his sophomore year, when we got to the playoffs, we were at the Irmo Field, and it was Fort Mill again. And I want to tell y'all, when I saw them on film, I said, holy cow. I mean, they were tough as nails. But somehow or another, we beat them 28-25 at the Irmo Field. And one of the biggest plays in the game is we had a fake punt. Have y'all ever heard that before? We had a fake punt, and big old Pete, he just ran 50 yards for a touchdown. And Fort Mill was, I think that just broke their back. But just to be a sophomore on a team like that, and we had some good players back then, and to run 50 yards like that on a fake punt. So that gave us victory there at Irmo. Then we had, I don't know what it is about Woodruff. Anytime you play Woodruff, you got to play at Woodruff. You know, that was just.
Thank Coach Sullivan for the introduction. Also want to thank the good Lord above, without whom none of us would be here. I would like to thank the committee for the introduction. I would like to thank my family, former coaches, and teachers for helping me become the man that I am today. And after that, I want to thank my teammates that helped us go 1973, 12-1 state championship. 1974, 14-0 state championship.
There you go.
1975, 11-1 state playoffs. With the leadership of a Hall of Fame, South Carolina Hall of Fame coach Cecil Woolbright, and Chapin Athletic Hall of Fame coach Sullivan. Thank you and God bless.
All right.
You'll never get to see that. But as a young person, I got to see her, and she was absolutely fabulous. I do want to say a few things. There were three basketball players. I didn't get to see Jackie play, but there was one called Athlete Sheely Rout. Her number was number 3, and she was absolutely outstanding. That was way back a number of years ago. I go to church with her, and I cut up with her every Sunday about what a wonderful young lady she is. Now, the other one, the 3 people that I saw play basketball, the young ladies, another one was Pam Boston, who was absolutely, totally outstanding and could play anywhere, anytime. And then I want to talk about Judy. Judy was quick, she was fast, she was strong, she was a great shooter. She had all the tools of being a great basketball player. Now, I want you to think back in that era, they didn't have 3-point shots. So all the points she made were only 2 points. This young lady, I remember seeing her play, number 42. I remember her number vividly as I was watching ball games at that time. She indicated that she first started, and the reason she has me up here is my dad was one of the people that coached her at a young age. And Alan Rollins was another person. And she gave them a lot of credit for her ability to play basketball. My dad was a basketball, he played freshman basketball at the University of North Carolina. And he also ran track at the University of North Carolina. And he was a phenomenal person as far as loving kids and coaching. And for her to come and ask me to do that because of my dad really warmed my heart. So thank you so much. And I appreciate so much the fact that my family goes back many, many years to helping athletes here at Chapin. Judy, I'm going to read some of her statistics here, and I guess I need my glasses. But she was playing against Prosperity. Now remember, we didn't have Mid-Carolinas back then. We had the Prosperities and the Pomerias and the schools like that. And she scored 40 points against them. Now this is 40 points, 2-point shots. And she won the game by scoring in the last 15 seconds. Really, really clutch play. She played against Pomeria, 32 points against Pomeria. Unbelievable. Her average for that period, that year, was 27.7 points a game. Now, basketball was slow back then. It didn't have the speed that it has here. So think about a human being that has the ability to score that many points and average that many points in a game. I got to see that. Again, you won't get to see that. It was a memory that can never be erased for me. Central Carolina.
Thank you, Bart. I don't know if I resembled all that or not. But I'm honored to be here this evening and humbled to be chosen for this honor. and to have my family and friends and teammates in attendance. And this is going to be short. But for about as long as I can remember, I have played basketball or been interested in sports. My brother Jennings and I were the youngest of 9 children. You can relate to that, Jackie, how tough it was. But anyway, when I was in the 5th or 6th grade or even younger, my brother Jennings was playing basketball at Chapin. And our ritual every afternoon was to shoot some baskets. Our basketball goal was attached to our father's wooden tractor shed. And there was just dirt and gravel to dribble the ball on. Jennings was very tall, so in order for me to ever be able to shoot over him, we had to come up with something creative. And he taught me the hook shot, which later I perfected, and it became my signature weapon. The inaugural varsity basketball games were played in the new standalone gym for the first time in November 1952, playing Teal High School. I think the girls and boys both won that game. As 8th graders, we could not make the varsity team as a full-time player, playing the entire game. But we could play sparingly until the last part of the season. You could not be a 5-year letter player, according to the South Carolina High School League rules at that time, but be part of the team. Although I think the rules got stretched a bit. Mr. E.B. Teal, Eugene Teal, Bart, Jean, and Leland's father, and Alan Rollins, who was attending Newberry College at the time, formed a younger girls team of 8th graders and 7th graders and some 9th graders to practice and play a few games. A little tournament was held in Prosperity. Virgie Height was superintendent at that time, and she and her husband, J.C., were avid girls basketball enthusiasts and fully supported Coach Teal and Rollins' idea wholeheartedly. And so beginning in January 1953, the first girls junior varsity team was introduced to move girls basketball forward at an earlier age and advance to the next level. My varsity coach that year was Leon Whetstone, his first and only year at Chapin High School. I want to tell you right up front, I was very superstitious. I ate Campbell's soup before every game. I never washed my shoes because we wore the Converse canvas shoes, and I still got them hanging in the attic. I would stay after school with friends like Rose Laster, Bigley, or Sylvia Hale, as they lived in town and not far from school for practice, and then my daddy would pick me up afterwards. Our style of formation was a little different back then. It was called 6-on-6. 3 forwards in the front court, 3 guards in the back court for each team. Only forwards could shoot the ball. I was a forward, and I used a one-handed jump shot or a hook shot when needed. Scoring consisted of 2 points for field goals, layups, and so forth, and 1 point for foul shots, or 2 if you qualified after the first one. There were no 3-pointers. We used a jump ball set up from the center court, and I'm telling y'all this because y'all don't know nothing about that kind of basketball. But we used a jump ball set up from the center court for beginning of the game and to start the game after halftime. Everybody called me by 2 names. Judy Pearl, and some still do today. My 1957 first string members, and I'm calling name, and I'd like for them to stand up. Unfortunately, Patricia Amy Swittenberg couldn't make it tonight, but it was Dottie, Sheila, Elliott, Norma, Cumberland, Chapin, and Janice, Ralph, Batenbow, and Sheila Stubb. They were awesome. Still awesome. And I want to point out one more thing. Janice Ralph, in a competition, in a contest at the Central Carolina tournament, shot 25 out of 25 foul shots. She was awarded a trophy for that effort. Other members of the team that saw playing time included Janice Counts Elliser, Brenda Cook Poole, Trudy Cook Duffy, Helen Cumberlander, Jeannie Sheila Frick, and I want to mention also Barbara Sue Rout Graham also was a member of our team.
Yeah.
3 members of our team are now deceased. Norma Sheila Driver, Jenny Ruth Montz Riley, and Laura Sykes. Coach J.B. Addy was inducted last year and was my varsity coach in 54 and 55. Charles Richardson became our coach in 56 and 57. Unfortunately, not any of my coaches I had are living today. And in fact, I only have one teacher living, Jimmy Roof. I graduated in June 1957. I went to work for Southern Bell and married John Swigert in October 1957. While working at Southern Bell, they formed a team which was affiliated with the YWCA in Columbia. I played for them in 57 and 58. And we played teams from Roddy-Packin, Dreer-Packin, Fort Jackson, Toomey Hospital, Baptist Hospital, and Old Columbia Hospital. John and I had 4 children, Donna, Kenny, Joanne, and Richard. So my time became busy with family life. I supported my children through their endeavors with sports and band. And today, I have followed my grandchildren through their endeavors of drama, dance, soccer, golf, baseball, swimming, art, and hunting. I will end sharing 2 fond memories from my Chapin High School basketball days. Irma was a fierce competitor of ours. We didn't like them and they didn't like us. The team members from Irma would send messages to me by our mutual friends and playmates who lived near White Rock and Valentine, but attended Chapin High School. Nowadays, that would be called bullying. But I considered it a welcome challenge, and they'd say something like, "You're not going to score tonight, Judy Pearl." And that message made its way to me before games. Okay, I just had to show them. Those little messages would have no effect on my game, and it didn't. Winning and championships have a way of hushing those kinds of empty threats, you know. At a tournament at University High School, which is now on the campus of USC, but no longer exists, although the building is used for other purposes. We were behind by 1 point, and the seconds was ticking down. Pat Enoch Swittenberg brought the ball down court to the half-court line to me, with just enough time to get the shot off. I made the basket good, and the buzzer sounded, and we won the game. I believe they call that a buzzer beater nowadays. Lastly, after the games, we would come to Joe Chapman's Texaco station on the site where a Chinese restaurant is today. We didn't come to get gas. We were coming for hamburgers and hot dogs and a bottle of Pepsi and a pack of peanuts or a pack of Shacks or the peanuts to put in the Pepsi. Miss Alameda kept the grill open until the teams returned from games to serve our hungry souls. That is where we reflected on our wins and bragging rights on those nights, along with some spectators that attended the games and chimed in. And good memories were made. Again, thank you for nominating me, all of you, whoever, and awarding me this honor into the Hall of Fame at my alma mater, Chapin High School. And I still love the game of basketball.